I'm Harley Quinn Bradford here with one of the stars of BATGIRL Rises. And Constance, tell me, you've done everything from Alias to The Practice, and you even started a lot of roles playing very prominent women in history. Do you consciously pick these characters? Because again, that's what you're playing in this particular movie.
You know, I honestly think that these characters just pick me. I find that the things that I don't naturally gravitate towards, I just don't get, which is okay. And in retrospect, I always end up loving what I do get, and I think it's just a natural reflection of what I genuinely want inside, you know.
And so for those who are avid comic fans, it's pretty well known that a lot of times women are looked at in a very sexual manner. So why do you think it was great for this movie to take that to a different step and make them more intelligent?
I think Vincent is strongly relies on the foundation of a woman's strength in her intelligence and her force, and that always doesn't have to come from low cleavage and butt shots, let's be honest. So, and I really respect that, and if you look at prominent women throughout history, that's truly what they relied on, their force, their intuition, their intelligence, and he's bringing that to the forefront where oftentimes that's not what we see in the media.
So let me ask you too, she's a pretty in-depth character. I mean, psychotherapist, in love with somebody who eventually is going to manipulate her to take her out, or at least so the comic book says. But how did you prepare for this role?
I prepared for it by really trying to get to know who Harley Quinn was by watching some of the cartoon, you know, the different strips, and also reading and doing. There's a really interesting profile on YouTube that goes through the history of Harley Quinn, and he really sums her up well in about 20 minutes. I love it. And so there was that, and also marrying the different parts of Harley Quinn. So Harley Quinn is on one side this PhD psychotherapist, and on this other side this kind of like blue-collar, bubbly person who has no idea why she irrationally follows a madman, right? So, yeah, so trying to make all of those come together and still put her in the box of a human being that makes sense, which it doesn't always, I don't think, succeed, and so that's, I was trying to make her human.
Yeah, so let me ask you this. One of the things I heard you say is that nothing bold happens without sacrifice. So how do you think this movie does that, and how do you think your character does that in the movie?
I think that this movie is bold and sacrifices in the sense that we're not relying on the lowest common denominator. We're not saying that these women are only going to succeed in this movie if they show their sex on their sleeve, right? So it's going to be about being smart and looking good and being a dynamic story versus all of these other things. And I think that that's the sacrifice, and that's being bold and relying on the audience to say, yeah, I appreciate this new take. I appreciate that women can be smart and deliver a dynamic story that we're enthralled by.
Awesome. So my last question to you is, this movie, for me, was such a cliffhanger. Because when it ended, I was like, no, what's going to happen? So if you could write the next chapter of your adventure, what would that be?
Well, I think it could go a lot of different ways. I think that you can see these women pulling off the ploy, you know, rescuing the people in their lives that they love. And whether for Batgirl, it's her brother, and for me, it's the Joker. And let's see how that goes down. And does Batgirl figure out that her brother's into something scandalous? And what does Harley Quinn realize? That he's not appreciated, the Joker? I mean, that's kind of going along the storyline. So, I don't know, what do you think?
You know, and then that just led me to another question, though. Do you feel like Harleen is actually manipulating Batgirl to, like, move with her and help her out? Or do you think it's honestly just truly, hey, let's bond and let's do this together?
I think it's both. I think that once she realized who she was, she realized that she could be of service. But also, hey, I believe in mutuality, you know, mutually combining our energies to help each other. Why not?
Right.
So I do think that there's some, obviously, with the trajectory of Harley Quinn, some manipulation going on, but also a sisterhood.
Nice. Well, yeah. Thank you. You look beautiful for tonight.
So do you. Thank you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you, and congratulations.
You too. Thank you very much.